Last week, I met with one of our clients, a nine-figure company, and I sat down with their go-to-market team to help them understand how they can improve some of their go-to-market messaging when they're reaching out to their ideal clientele, which are major enterprises, Fortune 500 companies. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact same principles that I use and shared with them to show them how they can structure their own outbound messaging to get the same enterprise clients. I'm going to walk you through emails and messaging that I've received myself and how I would rewrite them if I wanted to get Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies. As promised, we're going to go through 3 examples of emails that I received and see what we would change so that we can help them land in enterprise inboxes. And I'm going to go through my 3 pillars to a successful outbound campaign. Number 1 is deliverability. Are you landing into mailboxes? What kinds of things are hurting your chances of landing in mailboxes? Number 2 is audience segmentation. Are you speaking to the right people in the first place? And number 3 is the actual copy, and I will go through the exact copy changes I would make. But if you don't have all 3 of those, then you are not going to land in enterprise inboxes. You are not going to engage with enterprise players because they need hyper-tailored and super specific solutions. So you cannot send a broad campaign. You need to understand what their specific needs are for the specific role that you are going into. The reason enterprises are so big and they have so many employees is because everybody's dedicated to some tiny specific solution. So you need to make sure you're speaking to the right person, you're saying the right things, and that you're even landing in the first place. So the first email. Hi Arcia, kindly reply no if you don't think we'd be a good fit. I wanted to connect to see if there's any website development, software development, HubSpot development support needs at my company. Our 100 developers specialize in, I'm not going to read that, you can, why teams choose us, tailored solutions, test project kickoffs, 24/7 availability, engineering resources deployed. This is 11/11, I'm assuming that's a date. Grab developer packages at special rates, 1 dev for 4,000, that's the pricing. And if you have time for a quick call at this one time, would that work for you? Name, the best name, and associate manager. All right. Deliverability. Number 1, way too many characters. You want to get, especially for enterprise when they mostly use Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, you are going to want to get as few characters as possible. If you can get to 50 characters in your email, you're in a good spot. Less than 50 is ideal. Additionally, you need to run this entire thing through spam filters because having dollars in your copy will go ahead and flag it and it will make it more difficult to land in those mailboxes. Audience segmentation. Clearly, from the jump, you don't understand anything about what my business does because you're trying to sell me the kitchen sink. You're just throwing everything at me and you're saying, do you have any specialization, any need for any of this stuff? I am not going to go with someone that is a generalist for my specific high-level enterprise problem or use case. I need them to at least prove that they have some competency in the specific thing that I'm dealing with. Make it easy for me. Don't make me think about what I might need for you. Make you think about what you can do for me and just surface it. Okay? So the things I would do is I'd probably take this audience and I would, depending on the types of developers you have, I could segment there, right? If you're going and you're talking to large organizations, they probably use Salesforce. If you're talking to e-commerce stores, they're probably using Shopify or Magento. If you're talking to apps, React, right? So there's ways you can segment the audience, even if you don't know what software that they are absolutely using. And by the way, you can do that. You can go to builtwith.com and you can find out who's using HubSpot. But even if you don't know, there's other ways where you can segment the audience and say, well, look, they're a large organization with a big sales team. They're probably using Salesforce. Or they're a large company. They use Shopify. They're a large company on Shopify. They do X dollars in revenue. Again, you can find that. Then you should probably do that kind of messaging for them. A number of things here. Number 1, you disqualified yourself in the very first line. Reply no if you don't think we'd be a good fit. They won't reply at all if they don't think they'd be a good fit. You don't need to tell them not to reply. You are framing this as saying, hey, there's a chance that this is completely irrelevant to you. Why would you do that? Get rid of that line entirely. Obviously, I told you it's already way too long. It's not clear what the exact offer is because you've got it spread from here to here. And then you have these features and benefits you sell in the middle of it. If this isn't relevant, if they don't need developers, then they are not going to start weighing these features and benefits. Your job is not to sell them on 24/7 availability. It's to see if they have any interest at all and then explain why you're a good fit. If you can do that all in one email, maybe, but this is far too much context. It's not easily skimmable. So I would get rid of this entire thing right now. The only thing I might keep is 24/7 availability because that might be some competitive advantage. But engineering resources deployed, but test project kickoffs before full engagement? Well, I would hope so. Why would you offer anyone software services if you're not going to test tailored solution for startups and growing companies? This is obvious stuff. You don't need this. Engineering resources deployed within 2 weeks, that also might be something you might keep. And then if you are going to offer a time for a call, you offer 2 times, but most of the time I don't even do this. I just make it a very easy yes/no question. So how are we going to and last thing is the signature. You probably don't even need the best. And when it comes to your name, keep that. But if you're not director or higher, I would just get rid of the associate manager and I would just put the company name, or I would just leave it as is, honestly, because associate manager, depending on who you're doing outreach to, you're just too junior. They're not going to take it as serious. Sorry, that's the truth. So here's what I would do if I wanted to land in more enterprise inboxes and convert at a higher percentage for those same enterprises. Here's the rewrite. Hi name, does my company have any active software development projects? We've got 100 plus available developers with 24/7 availability, no technical or software limitations, and they can deploy in less than 2 weeks. We can connect you for $2,500 a developer. Interested. What's good about this is, number one, it's way shorter. Number two, if we're not going to segment the audience, then we might as well go and ask if they have these kinds of projects to at least frame the conversation. To be honest, you might not even need this line. You might get rid of it, and it honestly wouldn't hurt the email, I don't think. Then you just have, we've got 100 plus developers with 24/7 availability. That's still a pretty good email. You've listed the 3 things that are most important. They're available all the time, because the issues they're probably running into, if they're looking for software teams, is that they are not getting the lion's share of the day of possible work that can be done. Number 2, they have no technical or software limitations. This is a big, broad stroke. I don't love this, but at least you're signaling it. And number 3, saying that they can deploy in less than 2 weeks. Fast, speed, that's important. And then the actual offer. We can connect you for $2,500 developer. That's a pretty competitive price for a developer. They can kind of get the gist. If this is at all interesting, then it's very easy for them to say, if they're interested, yes or no. Hi, Arcia. We have candidates with strong expertise in your industry who would be a strong fit for my company. If the previous candidates don't meet your needs, I have others in mind. I understand that these may not be the roles you are currently looking to fill. If this is the case, please tell me exactly what you are hiring for. Otherwise, if you are interested, I'm available tomorrow to connect. What time works for you? Best name, CEO, email, phone number, and address. Back to our 3 pillars. Number 1, deliverability. How are we going to land in enterprise inboxes? Number 1, when you have the email, you are hyperlinking in the email, and that is bad for deliverability. Additionally, it's completely unnecessary because you just emailed me from the email. I don't need to see your email in the signature, as if I forgot. I'm going to hit reply, and then it'll get me into your inbox. Totally unnecessary. Number 2, you don't need any of this stuff. CEO is good. I would keep that. You don't need to have their phone number. Nobody's going to call you from your cold email. Nobody's going to call you from your cold email, and you don't need an address. Nobody's coming to your office to go see you. You might think it has some kind of reputation or whatever, but they're going to check your website. That's going to have all of your reputability. That's all you need. So get rid of this. You probably don't need best. And also, this needs to be way shorter. So let's talk about audience and segmentation before we get to the copy. Number 1, you have clearly not segmented the audience here. Because just saying that you have strong candidates with strong expertise that are a strong fit without calling out the expertise, the industry, or even what my company does means that you clearly don't have an idea of what I need. And you said if the previous candidates don't meet my needs, you have others in mind. You never sent me any candidates. So right off the bat, I know this is a broad email, and we should do a better job of addressing a broader audience. So let's just dive into the copy because that's really all so let's just dive into the copy because that's all that's missing here. You've got 2 or 3 questions here. What time works for you? What are you exactly hiring for? You've disqualified yourself. I understand these may not be the roles you're looking to fill. If the previous candidates don't meet your needs, I have others in mind. It's not clear what they're trying to offer me. You should at least do some segmentation here to think of what I might need. If they just got funding, they probably need a sales team or go-to-market operators. If they are a more established company, look for these signals. Right? There's ways where you can pick and prod of these. So here's my executive rewrite. First of all, 2 lines. That's going to land in an inbox. You're going to do some audience segmentation for something like this. So, hi name, we have candidates with operations experience in go-to-market and outbound. That's something that I'm interested in. So that already is relevant to me. If I saw this email, I would actually be interested. And then I would say, are you currently looking to fill a go-to-market role, or are you hiring for other roles first? GTM is short for go-to-market. You only know that if you are in the industry, or if you've worked in the industry, you're adjacent to it. So this already signals a little bit of authority. It's very, very short. It's clearly segmented to an audience, and the offer is clear. And what I did here is because I'm asking if they are looking to fill a go-to-market role. If they're not, it's a lower likelihood they're going to reply at all, but I do open the door for that. Are you hiring for other roles first, right? That's not saying, oh, well, if this is the entirely wrong candidate and this is not a fit at all and I got it totally wrong. You're just saying, I know you have a go-to-market role probably. That's probably an interest, but is there other interests as well? Very different framing. Hi, Arcia. Would your firm be open to taking on new consulting opportunities? I'm Naim, and I work at a company, and we are a go-to-market provider based out of Silicon Valley. We work with consulting companies to grow their client base by connecting them with large corporations and professional associations. Last year, we facilitated over 1,000 conversations for our consulting clients with decision makers at Fortune 500 companies. We typically tailor the work to clients' expertise, target the types of companies that the client may have worked with in the past. Would there be an interest in exploring new markets and opportunities in the consulting space? If so, let's connect. You can pick a time using this calendar link. Let me know a few slots. Regards, name, company, address, line 1, line 2, phone. That's a mouthful. All right. 3 pillars. Number 1, deliverability. Way too many characters. Way too many hyperlinks. You've got phone numbers. You've got calendar links. Bad. This needs to be run through a spam filter to make sure that there's no other spam words that you need. But that's right out the gates what I would fix. Number 2, audience segmentation. I actually don't think they did too bad of a job with this because what I do is effectively consulting for different enterprises. And so for whatever reason, they've seemed to nail me down, and maybe they just send this to service providers at large. Honestly, it's okay. But their copy needs a lot of work. This is way too long. It's not skimmable at all. This entire section of signature can just go away. Again, nobody's calling you on your landline because you sent them an email. Nobody cares what address line 1, line 2 is. Just name, company, or better yet, name, title, assuming it's senior enough. Get rid of regards, okay? No calendar link as well. So a lot to go on here, but this is an okay opener, actually. And then the offer gets muddled and all this other stuff. You're basically saying the same thing 3 or 4 times. We help consulting companies grow. We help consulting companies grow. Are you interested in growing your consulting service? So, how would I rewrite this? 4 lines. Hi, Naim. Would your company, or even better if you use their company name, be open to new consulting opportunities? We connect consulting companies with large enterprises like Microsoft, Amazon, and IBM. We facilitated over 1,000 conversations with decision makers at Fortune 500. Worth a chat. Okay? From the top, deliverability, much shorter. Audience segmentation, it's about the same. It's fine. And the copy is much more engaging. This is a lot easier to read. It's a lot more enticing because are you open to new opportunities? Yeah, probably. You connect consulting companies with large enterprises like Microsoft, Amazon, and IBM. That's good proof. Those are companies I'd love to get in touch with. And we facilitated over 1,000 conversations with decision makers at Fortune 500. That is clear proof points. If I have any interest, I would see this email and I would reply yes just to see what they said, just to see what they have to offer. So a couple things as I wrap this up that I want to just make very clear to you. When it comes to writing for enterprise, the 3 pillars are more important than ever. Because if you can't land in the inbox, then all of this work, this entire video is for nothing. If you are not speaking to the right audience and you don't have a clear idea of what your offer is and who to target for it, then it's probably not going to go very well. And number 3, your copy has to be on point. Make it skimmable. These guys get hundreds of emails a day. And they all are offering them things from staffing services to website design to whatever. And they need to know quickly if this is valuable or not. So make it easy for them. Surface the offer up front, credit with proof, as few words as possible. And if you'd like my help growing your sales operation or your pipeline with some of the same strategies that we use to connect with Fortune 500s and other large billion-dollar enterprises, then please book a call with me below. We'd be happy to scope that out for your work.